In the material conditions we are facing, we face the question of violence once more. But the violence that takes a political character, and dare I say a revolutionary one. What the question begs is, does violence create a distinguishing line between the revolutionary and reactionary, or does it deploy an equalizing fog over all sides, factions, and objectives? As New African/Black people, one revolutionary party stings forever in our collective unconscious. Whether good or bad, unruly or unrighteous, that party is the Black Panther Party. The Black Panthers started out in December 1966. But before I get into the Black Panthers, let me give some prehistory on the party. Both Huey and Seale were part of an organization called the Revolutionary Action Movement, or from now on we'll call it RAM. RAM was a precursor to New African Socialist Organization. Chairman Muhammad Ahmad, staunch Marxist-Leninist, Maoist, and revolutionary nationalist. And RAM's representative was Malcolm X himself. This all leading to the revolutionary Malcolm X doctrine, which would inspire countless Black revolutionaries around the globe. So RAM materialized itself as a vanguard party, and a revolutionary nationalist one at that, which promoted the Black colony thesis, that the Black community was a domestic colony for capital extraction, which in conjunction with all colonized people needed to revolt. RAM was a national organization that emerged based on clandestine local cells, with the central leadership forming coalitions with existing Black/New African organizations to prepare for a national liberation front. RAM worked with and through many different mass organizations to capture the wider New African masses. But by the mid-60s, RAM was on the back foot. Well, you know why. The U.S. cracker colonial government. As a precursor for all revolutionary nationalist orders we are familiar with, RAM was a case study for all subsequent takedowns by the U.S. government toward revolutionary parties, which attempted from an internal standpoint to take down the U.S. The late 1960s were a rough time. The whole world was on the move pushing imperialism back. The BPP was born out of the Black radical and Afrocentric scene on the West Coast. For about 5 odd years, Huey and Seale were part-time students at Oakland's Merritt College, taking up New African organizing and street corner nationalist rallies. Huey was in a college chapter of RAM, actually. Both of them swept up by, for them new, wave of Fanon, Mao, and other third world political writers that had blasted onto the scene. Huey had gone into a fight, knocked a brother, and spent 8 months in jail. Bobby, also in RAM, split under disputed circumstances. He says he quit because RAM wasn't into action. RAM insisted that he was purged for drinking and misusing funds. But anyway, by 1966, both Huey and Seale were bored, still a part of the larger Black nationalist scene in the area. Huey, yes I know, he and Seale got into a fist fight with the cops and came up with the idea in jail, and them decided that they had to form a revolutionary nationalist organization that stood up to the pigs. They named it the Black Panther Party for self-defense. With the help of Huey's brother Melvin, they drafted the party's 10-point program. That was the start of the Black Panther Party. Well, the question remains, my nigga, how does this relate to violence and the thesis of this video? Quote unquote, did the Panthers have survived without guns? Well, unironically, guns are what made the Black Panther Party popular, albeit controversial. Let me explain. The Black Panther Party's political military strategy had come under considerable criticism at the time from forces within the revolutionary nationalist movement. RAM criticized, quote-unquote, Huey's open display of guns, brandishing them into the police's faces. The PGRNA said, quote-unquote, Black Panther Party's pronouncements and actions create pretext for U.S. military actions by the police. So, by that fall of 1966, the Black Panther Party had recruited its first members, mostly from around Huey's neighborhood in Oakland, and they had set up an office. In public face-off, Panthers refused to hand over their guns to the pigs, insisting loudly, if you shoot me or if you try to take this gun, I'm shooting back, bitch. All the while lecturing the gathering New African crowd about their rights. The first time this happened, a dozen or so odd men who had been watching immediately joined up. In just a few months, new party chapters were springing up from coast to coast. California, Oakland, Berkeley, San Francisco, Richmond, East Palo Alto, Los Angeles, San Diego, Sacramento, engaging in speaking tours. They began to set up new chapters in Chicago, Cleveland, New York, Philadelphia, and other major cities. In January 1966, the Black Panther Party was claiming 45 chapters. Tight shit. In raising the gun, the Oakland Black Panther Party, the Oakland BPP, became the beacon of the Black masses for the youth with revolutionary visions and a glint in their eye for a new future. There was a surge of militancy of grassroots energy directed toward and into the party. The young radicals refused to be slowed down. They wanted to join the struggle. A revolutionary spirit grew within the party, one that shined brighter than its leadership. The BPP, as originally conceived, lasted less than 3 years, but collapsing under the first wave of counterinsurgency. This is where I must speak my mind on guns and political violence. But with some analysis, the police arrested Panther cadre, all at similar times around the US, encircling chapters, arresting niggas and killing members, completely destabilizing and defaming the party, and turning the party into a glorified prisoners relief fund. The internal contradictions of the party lay bare for all to see. I'm going to introduce the term quote-unquote guerrilla theater, and we can infer what this means as we go along. The split between the Oakland and New York factions, Huey and Cleaver's factions respectively, began the period of national decline in February and March 1971, initiated with the expulsion of the New York chapter and the international section of the party. This resulted in over 1,000 Panthers, leaving Newton's faction for a whole array of reasons, including his gangsterism, assassination of his own members, and reassessing black capitalism, and a whole slew of backwards reactionary nonsense. Some were expelled, but a large number quit on their own. Bobby, Cleaver, and Huey were just floundering around, allying with white settler left parties, while ignoring solidarity and coalition building with the colonized proletariat and lumpen, all while bearing a veneer of quote-unquote militancy. This two-line struggle was helped create the BPP that existed within the party as a growing contradiction between those who wanted to push on to a revolutionary war versus those who wanted to reform white America. This two-line struggle eventually split the Black Panthers, in the process creating a new revolutionary advance, the Black Liberation Army. Although Ram was their predecessor, Ram was more advanced than the Panthers. The Black Panthers were, just like the ages of the cadre, infantile. Why might you ask? The Panthers borrowed rhetoric from Mount Fanon on revolutionary violence, but never took this to its logical ends, playing a sort of, guerrilla theater. Y'all can infer what these ends I'm referring to are, but if you're a loading animation type nigga, I'll tell you. These logical ends are anti-colonial violence and guerrilla warfare. Now let me return to some points I touched on earlier in the wake of Charlie Kirk's assassination. We've seen a whole slew of reactions from peak liberalism.
Imagine, imagine being a 12-year-old. Don't make that line be one between the left and right. Because if you do make that line fall between the left and right, I will side with the right. This is not about party lines. So don't fucking make it about party lines.
To moderate liberalism.
These niggas, I said, bro, y'all gotta chill with having, like, wishing death on niggas. That's fucked up, bro. Now listen, how long you think it... Huh? Bro, what niggas was talking about Pack Watch, Charlie... Huh? Wow. I didn't know I had that pain, bro. That shit hard.
RP gang or quick recovery. I don't know which one it is yet.
Huh? He died.
But I don't care for liberals or quote-unquote leftists, but instead communists and anarchists alike who want to profess a revolutionary desire. This is to them. The abstinence around political violence has waned. Whether this is a good or bad thing relates to an issue the BPP faced, the issue of quote-unquote guerrilla theater. Why do we praise the idea that Kirk's assassination wasn't done by a communist or guerrilla? Now, I'm not promoting adventurism, but I'm promoting the idea that revolutionary violence will happen, and we shouldn't off-put the real possibility of it happening in our lifetime. This stage of heightened political violence we see ourselves in means the masses have advanced past us, and we are tailing them. This weird tiptoeing around the line of promoting revolutionary violence, but also playing a pacifist to satiate liberals, the practices and lengths some engage in to soothe the fascists, and people want us dead need to stop. We should be focusing on internal contradictions within our movements, political education, and meeting street elements where they're at. Free the land. And for the theses of this video, could the Panthers have survived without guns? I would say no, but they also died because they refused to use those guns. Peace out, family.